Hey guys, I always wanted, like, I recently did a video about how I became a bookworm, and after that I decided, you know what? How about at least once a week I talk about the books I've read during a week? So, along with the albums thing, I decided to, uh, talk about the books I've read during the week. And so, yeah, I decided to do that, and it's the beginning of the year, so I only have read about two books this week. One of them being a placeholder from what I started reading last year. So let's just get right to it. The first book I've read this year, or one of the books I've read this year, was a book called Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. It's about this murder mystery of some sort, which is about these two girls who get caught up in the murder of a third friend, and one of them ends up being in rehab due to the issues that pertain with the murder of a friend, and the other is living alone. Well, she's living with her mom, but her mom left, and the place is a mess. Like, her mom's become a hoarder, and this takes place about 5 years after the death of their friend. And what happened was, at one point, at the beginning of the book, it's not what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. Like, everybody in the town is blaming these two friends for their friend's murder because it seems like it was an exact take on the book series or one book that they all read together, and because of how the book inside the in series book ended, they wanted to actually make their own book, basically a fan fiction, pretty much. So, yeah, and they were kind of into it at first, but then eventually their friend got really, really into it, and the other two ended up kind of growing out of it, and so it just went kind of went sideways in the book. It pretty much kind of went sideways, and a while later she gets murdered, and everybody sees that their fallen friend as this lost, like this glorified person, when really she was kind of anything but. She was manipulative and all that. And after the murder, the most of the town blames their friend for the murder because they get caught into it. Somebody that she was seeing ends up being caught into it, but he's found innocent, while everybody has a stigma against these two friends whose names are Maya. Their names are, shoot, I forgot. Bryn and Maya. And most of the town has this huge stigma on them because they're fan fiction that the three of them were found, and it was pretty much on the exact, you know, it was pretty much exactly how her murder was put out. And so they want to get to the bottom line of everything with the help of a couple of their friends. And this book, I actually did kind of enjoy it. Like, I've read a couple of Lauren Oliver's other books, which I thought were okay, but I actually think this is really intense. Like, I thought it was decent in establishing uh, what happened. Like, they didn't actually go. They actually put what happens in the book, like what's the present and the past, because everybody, like, in the past, like, okay, here's the thing. In the present, everybody actually assumes that this young girl who died was innocent and was glorified, but in the past, she's like this manipulative, like kind of horrible friend who, in some respects, you can understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, she's manipulative and she kind of ignores her friends whenever something doesn't go her way because she's used to things going her way. And I actually do like the fact that this book plays on the whole none of it's what it seems. Like, I think the book starts off okay at first, Um, like usually it just establishes the characters and where they're at after what all that happens, since it takes place 5 years after their friend's death. But as the book goes on, it gets more and more intense, and I actually think that it actually gets better as the book goes on. And so, yeah, I'd recommend this if you're into like um young adult young adult murder mysteries. Like every now and then it gets a little young adult soap opera-ish, but a little bit, just a little bit. Every once in a while it does, but it has like it never loses its intensity in terms of what it's going for. And so, yeah, I recommend this. Uh, I gave it a lukewarm review on Goodreads, but it's fine. It's actually a really decent book if you're into it. I mean, it's not the greatest murder mystery book, but then again, I've read a ton of books over the past few years, so there's that. And so I recommend this. Now, another book that I read this week was a book called um, Night of Cake and Puppets by Lenny Taylor. Now, this is a book that is a companion to the book series Daughter of Smoke and Bone, a book series which I've read up until like as of last year. I've read all three books 3 times. Last year it was I read all 3 books in a row. It gets easier. The third book is a little long, sure, but I actually really enjoyed the book series. And now this book I actually found out about. I found out about late last year, like no late November, early December. I found out about this book through Goodreads, and I actually really enjoyed this book. So for those of you who don't know, like this is a companion piece. This is a companion book to the first daughter of Smoke and Bone book, which it's really hard to explain. It has something to do with the main character of that book series, and she is born into this land where this place where she okay, I can't explain it. It's actually really hard to explain. Even though I've read it 3 times, but it's a fantasy novel about this girl who actually has these magical powers, and she goes all across this world where uh there are these portals where she goes through, and which is created by somebody who's she's working for, and her task for him, or this creature who's very friendly but very stern, um, she is assigned by this person, or again this creature, to go through these portals and get various items. And on one trip, there's this, and then she comes across this angel who she falls in love with. Well, she bumps into, fights, then eventually falls in love with. Spoilers, but these kinds of books, these kinds of books are pretty much, yeah, romance in it. I can't really explain myself. Sorry, this is my first time. So in terms of this book, this takes place during the first book, and it's about her friend, who is pretty much like like not angry, and she's friendly, but she has this um fuck off look that she gives to everybody, or like everybody who comes across her path. That includes her friend's ex-boyfriend, and suddenly she comes across, like during this book, she comes across this violin person named Mick, and her name is Susanna, and and she's a puppeteer for this company, and he's a violin for who works in the same place as her, and it takes place on both their perspectives. Like they really like each other, but they don't know how to go about it. So usually she is like tough and a real go-getter, but around here, he's like like she can't really express how much she likes him, and I get that. And so he feels the same way about her, but her face has that piss off look, and he's like, I really want to talk to her, but I really can't. So, with the help of the magical little beads that her friend gave her, or magical beads that she uses throughout the book series, or some of it, she uses the beads that she has to, you know, what was it called? I losing my train of thought. She uses these beads to help find her, find him. Okay, hold on. Okay, so she actually, in order for him to go to her, she draws out this treasure map so he could find her. And so she uses these beads to make puppets come alive and help out in various ways, like a treasure map. And so I don't want to spoil anything for her. Like it's basically her getting him, like him trying to find her using a treasure map she made. And I gotta say, like I don't use this word often, but this is a romantic book. Like it made me smile throughout the entire book. And I really like Zuzana as a character, and I actually like her love interest Mick. Like even though I read it 3 times, like I really enjoy their chemistry. It's like this is something that's close to my heart. Like I actually immediately when the year ended, I immediately like I read this whole entire book yesterday. Wait, 2 days as of this recording, it's been 2 days. I got this book on January 2nd, so like from the library. Like I got this book too, Broken Things. I borrowed immediately when I had to go to work. I went to the library and got this book immediately. And after I finished reading Broken Things, I immediately went to this again because I really like this book. Like, oh my god, I don't know where this book has been for the last 3 times I've read it. Well, I've read the entire Smoke and Bone trilogy twice, and then I read this last year, and then I read the trilogy again, and then and then I read this again, and then later this year I'll read the trilogy again because this is that good. Like, if you actually like romantic things, like I'm not usually a romantic person. I'm usually like a horror person or mostly young adult. But this like this book I recommend. Yeah, like it's a good murder mystery, but this book is what I really like, and I actually want to read it again. I don't even care if I read it like um. Okay, I can't really explain myself right now. I want to read this again, and I don't want to wait till next year. Like this is a library book, but my New Year's resolution for half this year is not to buy any more books because they are full. Like my room is full of books. Like my drawers, my there are books on top of my dresser. There's a tote box that's overfilled with books I bought over the last 3 years. There are books in my bag, and there are books on hold at the library. And if I go on Goodreads, I'm gonna find a lot more books. But like, I still recommend these books, but definitely this one, like, it was a quick 30 or 40 minute read, and it made me smile all the way. This is a pretty good, pretty good murder mystery. I recommend both of them. Definitely this one if you like Dogger and Smoke and Bone, and if you haven't, like, if you've read it enough times, like I have, like, if you read this book enough times, like I have, it's a surprise. Again, this is during the first book, and it's romantic. I really, probably after I do this, well, I have another video to do, but after I do this, I want to read this again because it melts my heart so much, and the ending just gets to me. I mean, I've read the other books and I know where it's gonna go, but seeing it or reading it throughout is oh, okay. I'm gonna read this again, and when the New Year's resolution for the first half of the year is done, I am going to buy this book. Like, this is gonna be the first book I'm gonna buy. It probably costs like $10, but I really want to buy this book. Even more so than the trilogy, which are good books. Again, the third book is a little long, but it's fine. But thank you for what's it called? Thank you for watching this. I want to do more of these. Hopefully once a week. Hopefully, if I don't, then I'm gonna have to catch up. Probably won't have these books in my hand, mostly because most of them are library books, so I want to get them as soon as possible. Probably every Thursday or Friday, because I want to get more of these. I want to put more variety into my channel. So thank you for watching this, and if you have any book suggestions, if you want me to suggest any books, I'll do that, because I want to do this and the albums and memories thing. So thank you for watching, and I'll do more of this soon. Thank you.